Have you ever found yourself trapped in the relentless cycle of predictions only to realize that they rarely hit the mark? I've decided to break free from the guessing game and embrace the unknown. Yikes. Super yikes. Curious why and how? Keep listening. Hey everyone, I'm Laverne McKinnon and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor blogcast. I'm a certified career coach and grief recovery specialist. I love to help ambitious, driven people feel confident, empowered, and excited after experiencing a career setback. Whether it's from feeling stuck in a tough period or frustration from slow progress, I offer up tools and resources to revamp your path to career success. Okay, like I said, I am no longer making predictions. Now, this is not a New Year's resolution. It's just a resolution, one that could be made at any point during the year. But I'm making it now because I had downtime during the holiday break, and this is one of many epiphanies that I had, and I don't want to stand on ceremony. I'm just saying that it's not a New Year's resolution because researchers have shown that over 90% of New Year's resolution makers fail to keep them. By saying it's just a simple resolution, I'm hoping to increase my odds of success. Oh, welcome, Rue. Hi. Okay, Rue wants to join us. So now I know this promise to myself is going to be incredibly difficult to keep because it flies in the face of a pain point. And it's a pain point that I encounter about 17 times a day, probably more. I can't tolerate the unknown. Will my youngest daughter wake up at a reasonable hour? Will the director I submitted a feature script to last month actually read it? Did the agent I submitted the script to for the director actually give it to them? Will the movie ever get made? What will the budget be? How long will my dog Rocco live? My other dog, this is Rue. How bad will the rains be this winter? Will our roof hold up or collapse on itself? When will the contractor replace the roof? These are samples of a gazillion questions that I ponder, and it's endless. And 99.9% of the time, the answer to these questions is, I don't really know. Whenever the unknown pops up, I make a prediction of what will happen. Why? It's science. The brain can't tolerate the unknown. The unknown represents danger. So the brain will come up with an answer to ensure safety. It doesn't matter if the answer is true or not. All that matters is that there's an answer, and now there's a lovely hormone rush that rewards the brain for filling in the void, regardless of the credibility of that answer. Here are a few of my all-time favorite answers, also known as predictions. In 2003, in the boardroom of CBS BlackRock in New York City, in front of, probably like 40 suited white men, primarily over 50 years old, plus a handful of women in blazers, I was asked what predictions I had about the success of one of the network's pilots from that season, NCIS. Now, despite being the number 2 in the drama and development department at the time, I actually didn't know what I thought. I knew what the research said, but I had no idea whether NCIS would be successful. So I chose to be a contrarian to try and distinguish myself, and I made this prediction with great authority. NCIS will never be as successful as the CSI mothership. Now, flash forward in 2022, after 20 years that the NCIS was on the air, Variety reports that it was the second most watched series of the season. 20 years later, it was still that successful. Yikes. Okay, here's another one. What time will you be home? My husband asks me this all the time. Now, we all know that you can't predict traffic in Los Angeles, even with Waze or Google Maps. However, I still make a prediction, and I think that I can shave a few minutes of my commute by taking Mulholland instead of Laurel Canyon. Ha! Okay, another one. When's the best time to make a submission to an actor, director, a buyer? I get asked this all the time, and the truth is I have this question all the time too. Hard truth. No one really knows. I was a buyer for over a decade, and I never knew when it would be a good time. However, I still make a prediction. And I say, after the new year, folks will be refreshed and focused and ready to jump in. Really? Another frequent question. Will this upcoming event be worth my time and investment? I predict, yes, I'll meet some people and expand my network. This is literally what goes through my head every single time. Sometimes I meet some people, sometimes I don't. It's truly impossible to predict. Whenever I come up with an answer to the unknown, I get a rush of relief. It doesn't matter whether the answer is helpful or hurtful. The belief or the relief is palpable because at least now I really know. But do I really? Man, what I wouldn't give to have a crystal ball or access to a futurist. Their predictions are much more acceptable than mine because they are based in current trends and statistics. It feels like if there's data to back up the prediction, then it's more trustworthy. Clearly, I'm desperate to find a reasonable way to make predictions or trust other people's predictions. It's because I'm afraid of the unknown. The unknown is dangerous. When I know something, then I can make plans on how to deal with it, even if I don't like what I think is going to happen. For example, I can make a prediction that I'm never going to hear anything from the director I submitted the feature script to. And I also submitted a very lovely, specific love letter on why they were the perfect match for the project. I predict that I'm going to be ghosted by them and their agent. I don't like this prediction for a variety of obvious reasons. And this type of prediction also opens up the door for gremlin voices to kick in. Nobody wants to hear from you. So I make plans on how to deal with the non-response. I always follow up 3 times and then I let it go. I allow myself to be angry, frustrated, confused, offensive, defensive as well. Then I go on to the next name on the list and I start all over again. But then, magically, wondrously, I actually get a call from the manager who says their client loves the script and wants to meet. So all that energy, anticipating being ghosted, having pre-feelings about being ghosted, and then reviewing and re-reviewing names of who to go to next after being ghosted, it's all a big waste of time. What I've realized is that predictions are a significant waste of time and energy and resources. My predictions are rarely correct, so the return on investment is quite low. Here are 2 more examples. A client has a big meeting coming up, so we conduct extensive prep by researching affinity matches, becoming familiar with the producer's slate, really like anticipating and practicing answers to questions we think could come up. And then the meeting gets canceled a few hours before go time. We predict that this producer got called away for a production crisis or that they've changed their mind about working with my client. We predict that that this producer's assistant is going to call in a few days with an update. None of these things come true. The assistant emailed later to say that the producer had an emergency surgery. We never would have predicted that. Now, another client was focused on building his portfolio as a filmmaker. He wrote and directed a short film that we predicted would get some festival attention. And with that festival attention, we predicted he would get interest from agents and managers. With representation, we predicted he would get support putting his first full-length feature film together. Well, his short did not get accepted into any festivals. It was incredibly disappointing. However, the short got circulated because it was really, really good. And it's just like caught the attention and got sort of like all this buzz behind the scenes. And so he was hired to co-write and direct a limited series that's going to have its premiere on a major streamer. We never predicted that he could go from directing a short film to directing a limited series with major talent. So now, in reflecting on these experiences, I can't help but think what I could be doing with all my time, energy, and resources if I wasn't making predictions. I could be fully in the present, with eyes wide open, witnessing all the joy and possibility that's in front of me. Or I could be aware that there's actual real danger at my doorstep, but I can't see it because I'm looking into the distance, and so I'm not prepared for it. It really requires a leap of faith to trust in my ability to respond to whatever comes my way when it comes my way. No more predictions is going to be a heavy lift. I've shared this resolution with my family and my friends, now here in this public forum as a way to hold myself accountable to my word. Bottom line, I'm officially out of the prediction game. No crystal ball, no futurist, just embracing the unknown with open arms. It's not a New Year's resolution. It's a life resolution. So here's to living in the moment with my little dog, Rue, dodging unnecessary stress and letting go of the need to foresee every twist and turn. Okay, so that's it for today. Head over to Moonshot Mentor on Substack.com for journal questions about making predictions and resolutions. You can also visit me at Mentor. I can say the name of my website. I truly can. Moonshotmentor.com, where you can find links to all my social and how to work with me. Now, before you go, I'm really curious if you're someone who also loves to make predictions and determine what's going to happen next and how often you're correct. Maybe your batting average is much better than mine. Drop me a comment so we can converse. And a very, very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the video and audio editing. You can find her on social at Ms. Lynn Chen, MSLYNNCHEN. If you enjoy what you're hearing, I would so appreciate if you could subscribe. It would help me achieve my moonshot of 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. And maybe if you're lucky, we will show up again.